We already know that the Xbox One X is not going to be held back by the more popular PS4 or PS4 Pro. Games on the X are already running better and getting 2 times the resolution compared to the PS4 Pro. The base Xbox One doesn't hold back visuals, but what about the frame rate? The latest scandal in the video game community is the parity with Bluehole's PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Brendan Green, the creator and lead of PUBG, recently told the gaming press that the hottest multiplayer game coming to Xbox this month is going to be 60 FPS. Hours later, the statement was retracted and covered with a caveat that the game isn't ready for 60 FPS for the launch of Game Preview on December 12th. The problem with this is he confirmed that the X will run at 60 FPS and would need to make the concession of 30 FPS on the base Xbox One. Here's his quote: "Definitely on Xbox One X, 60 FPS. On Xbox One, we're not sure. We may have to limit it to 30 FPS, but last time I saw it, it was running at about 30 to 40. End of quote. The aim was to get all Xbox versions running at 60 FPS, but Brendan Green made a controversial statement next. He said, "PUBG is unlike the more fast-paced shooters. Frame rate isn't that important." Close quote. But if the game is ready in a week, and the X can do 60 FPS, but the Xbox One S cannot, why would both be pushed down to 30 FPS? This is called parity. This is something that the Xbox One X gamers were certain would not be holding back their premium console. PUBG is truly a unique game because almost every single competitive shooter on the console is 60 FPS. Let's take a look at Fortnite. The closest thing to PUBG, except it's free to play and it leans on simple graphics for its large battle royale map. The game runs at 30 FPS on the Xbox One and the Xbox One X. Even though the power differential between the Xbox consoles would allow more, Fortnite isn't enhanced though. PUBG is. It is being developed in part by Microsoft. So what happened? Bluehole was very upfront about the end result after launch on Game Preview to push the game to 60 FPS on both consoles, which would seem to be easy to overcome, especially with the X. PUBG is a very GPU intensive game with most of the work taken up by rendering that massive map and only 23% of a CPU load on PC because there are no AI controlled players. But the base Xbox One has a slower clock CPU with fewer upgrades than the X, so the base Xbox is holding back the X and not allowing X owners to get the game at 60 FPS on day one. Gamers who adopted the Xbox One X paid the extra money or upgraded to get a premium console. X owners expect better visuals, better performance, and an overall better experience over the older Xbox. Xbox One X owners didn't necessarily upgrade to the X to get an advantage over games in competitive multiplayer, but in the competitive scene, gamers will take whatever they can get. Let's take a look at all of the ways that a gamer can have an advantage over others in competitive multiplayer. First of all of these advantages have one thing in common. They cost more money. Let's start with the first, internet. Online latency can destroy even the most skilled player, so serious gamers make sure they are paying $50 or more for fast cable internet at the very least. Some gamers even factor in a solid router and make sure they have a very fast ping. Here's another one, controllers. Most gamers are using a standard Xbox One controller, which is great all on its own, but some gamers have added better thumbsticks or trigger stops. Some gamers even went to the extent of buying an Xbox Elite controller, double the cost of the standard controller. This can give any gamer a bit of an edge. Another one, TV. A gamer with too small of a TV or even too large of a TV can be at a disadvantage over a gamer with a great, responsive, low latency TV. We're talking milliseconds. And the difference between 30 FPS and 60 FPS is also measured in milliseconds. A responsive TV, even with a better, sharper picture, can make a difference in gamers getting a target on an enemy 100 yards away. surround sound, or an excellent surround headset. This is one of the biggest advantages of a spendy gamer over one that uses standard equipment. The ability to hear in a 3D audio environment, where and when your enemy is close enough to engage, makes a great sound setup a massive advancement for those that spent the extra money. There has never truly been parity amongst console gamers. There are always too many variables, but the ultra competitive gamer is going to exploit every single one of those opportunities. But if PUBG was confirmed to run at 60 FPS on the pricier console that was designed to give gamers a better experience, why was it suddenly pared back down to 30 FPS alongside the weaker Xbox One S? Gamers are blaming Microsoft for stepping in to protect base Xbox One owners from being, quote, not left behind. This left behind was a statement clearly made by Microsoft to assure that the X wouldn't replace the Xbox One, except gamers translated this as left behind in features and frame rate. The actual quote from Microsoft was, will there be a range that developers will take advantage of the Scorpio? Absolutely, but again, that's going to be developer choice. But on our devices, all of your games are going to work, period. We made that promise today. Those games will work across the whole lineup, and they have to work across the whole lineup. Close quote. This says nothing about frame rate parity. The promise was to keep all games released on the X as well as the S. This promised to keep all features and gameplay entities across the Xbox platform. They also stated that it is up to developers. Microsoft cannot step in and tell Bluehole Studios to set the X version of PUBG to 30 FPS to appease base Xbox One users. The next question is, how much of an advantage is frame rate over resolution? It's safe to assume that the resolution of PUBG on the X will be somewhere from 1440p to 2160p, and the base version will run at 900p to 1080p. Gamers are arguing about what the advantage of resolution is, when others are busy arguing about frame rate. First of all, like Brendan Green said, PUBG is not like most Twitch shooters. Because a game like this is about seeing or hearing your enemy far beyond engagement distance. PUBG is about getting the drop on your enemy or spotting them crossing a wide open gap from several hundred yards. This is the majority of the game, and in this perspective, frame rate means very little. As crazy as that sounds, especially coming from a gamer like myself that believes that frame rate is king. But my point is, seeing your enemy faster and easier with the aid of a nice, crisp 4K TV with 4 times the resolution advantage is going to get you a better chance at the top spot in a PUBG match. Bluehole seems to have decided on parity all their own. Both versions aren't hitting 60 FPS, so let's release both at 30? That doesn't make any sense. Why are they not pushing resolution parity? Bluehole said that the 4K textures aren't even ready for the X and that they still have to make them. If Xbox gamers spent $500 for the Xbox One X, they certainly expect and deserve to have a better experience, even if it means they have an advantage. Let's take Gears of War 4 for example. All competitive modes run at 60 FPS on Xbox One and the X, but Horde mode, which isn't competitive but the scoring is, Horde mode on the X is 60 FPS, but on the base console it is 30. Do 60 FPS gamers have an advantage over killing more enemies faster or seeing ammo crates faster than a 30 FPS base Xbox One gamer? Like I said, almost all competitive games on the console are 60 FPS, besides Destiny. But it's not up to Microsoft to decide if the performance of a game should be capped for parity. And unless Microsoft was lying about, quote, leaving it up to the developers, those who spent more to get the best should have the best. Gamers that spend the extra money for a great headset, an elite controller, lower latency, and a better TV should not be left behind by a fairness quota of parity for older hardware. This is why everyone in any sport or competitive activity opts to buy better gear, to have the advantage, and most of all, a better experience for their hard-earned money. This is Colteastwood, thanks for watching. If you think Microsoft and Bluehole came to some kind of understanding or agreement to keep parity with all Xbox gamers, make your voice heard. If the Xbox One X can do it, dang well, it better do it. And I know PUBG is just one example of parity, but it's one of the hottest games this year. And something this big, it can set precedents. Tweet out to Microsoft and Bluehole, let them know that you don't want to see parity on consoles. And if you're a base Xbox One user and you're upset that the X has the advantage, you better get used to it, because this is how hardware and this is how life works. If you like this video and you agree with me, hit the thumbs up and preach out in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. Alright gamers, that's all for now. Have a great week gaming, stay positive, and I'll see you soon.